I remember the day that I called Hawaii Island Recovery, and it was an awful day. My life was falling apart, and I felt like there was no help. I ended up going to a treatment center the year prior to going to Hawaii Island Recovery. I ended up going to a treatment center 2 years prior to Hawaii Island Recovery, and it wasn't a good experience. And so I felt like there was no hope, and I had relapsed and ended up needing treatment again. And when I picked up the phone, I Googled the very first number that I could find, and it happened to be HIR. And when I had first called, I wasn't a client. I wasn't able to be a client because they weren't accepting insurance at the time. And so I remember calling in, and Jimmy was the first person that took my call, and he gave me so much hope. He told me that this was the very last phone call that I was going to need to make, that no matter what, that I was going to be taken care of from here on out. And that gave me a sigh of relief. And true to his promise, I was in the program 4 days later. I stayed at Hawaii Island Recovery for about 45 to 60 days, and in that time, it was a lot of hard work, but it was extremely worth it. I'm the kind of person that really needs treatment. I had to be separated from myself so that I couldn't get my hands on the substances that I was used to taking. It was just not something that I was capable of doing on my own. And Hawaii Island Recovery allowed me to do that. And I remember meeting with the doctor, and the first thing that he said was, just trust me, trust the process. And I was obviously having a hard time trusting the staff, and that was probably my first, real admission of surrender and powerlessness, and being able to trust Hawaii Island Recovery, knowing that they had the best in mind for me. My stay at Hawaii Island Recovery was, monumental in that it's an 8-bed facility, so I got a lot of one-on-one, really individualized treatment and therapy, and so I was able to dig deep and find out why I did what I did, what were my behavior patterns, and where did they stem from. And that was a lot of therapeutic work that I necessarily couldn't get from the recovery resources that were free to me in my community. And so that was very valuable. One of my favorite or the most effective therapies for me was EMDR, and it was something that you really that I had to believe and trust in. And the first session, I could see change, and I was able to put away the feelings that were bothering me, that were necessary for me to focus on the reason of why I was in treatment, and just stay on course. Hawaii Island Recovery enabled me to start trusting people and start trusting my community, and it gave me faith and hope